The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it.
What's happening, fam? What's happening? Welcome to the Inside Outers podcast with me, Danny Lloyd, the man that took the I out of addict and put the Y in you. And this is a very, very special episode. It'll be just me today because the lock dog is too busy to be keeping it real like he does with us because he's out there saving lives because that's what the brother does. So I'm joined with a very special guest today who's flown in just last night. Last night from the Goldie. Introduce yourself, brother.
Hey, brother. Thanks for having us, man. Fuck, I love the energy, eh?
Yeah. Let's get it, bro. It's going to be a dope episode.
I'm Jacob Little. I'm from Gold Coast. I'm down here doing work for my organisation that me and my old man founded. We're called About Time for Justice.
Yep.
So we do a lot of work in the prison system. So we come down here and we got basically seeing lots of guys in the prison system. So I think we're going to be spread out over 5 different jails from here all the way out to Port Augusta.
All right, cool. We kind of just crossed paths thanks to Glenn Fisher. It wasn't even a week ago.
Yeah.
Because you were visiting him, right? You were down in Sydney, and you kind of went out for dinner, and I seen a video of what you do, and we somehow connected, and then it just so happened the stars aligned the day before I go to Canberra that you fly in, and I was like, we got to do this. We got to do this podcast show.
Yeah,
so sure. I appreciate you taking the time because I know you're basically stacked out every day you're here. You're in prison.
Yeah.
Prisons. I'm assuming not just Yatala. Mobilong.
Yeah, Mobilong. Yeah. All of them. We're going to the women's Adelaide pre-release. Adelaide Remand Centre. So,
Okay, cool. All right. So, why did you agree to come on this podcast, and what do you want the listeners to gain from tuning into this episode?
I suppose I love to see guys having a crack, getting out and, putting their stuff out there. And when I heard that you're friends with Glenn, I thought, you must be a good person.
Yeah.
Because Glenn just sort of surrounds himself with positive people. Me and Glenn have similar stories. I suppose I knew that you would be a good person. I've met Glenn only once, but we've, talked many times and sort of I know his story, he knows mine, and we're just connected on the level of the things that we've been through. And I suppose the reason I come down here and get into it is just because you're Glenn's mate, and I like what you do. I've been following you for a couple of days, and I like your content. So
cool. So tell us who Jacob Little was, and then tell us who he is now.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I was a bad fuck up.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time just doing bad things, taking a lot of drugs, getting on the piss, having benders, bashing people. But although back in the day, I used to think that was pretty fun. Like, when I was younger, I was just sort of into that, drinking, going to try and pick up chicks.
Yeah.
Just committing crimes. Me and my mates just always sort of getting into trouble. Started from a pretty young age, getting in trouble at high school, and then just sort of escalated as I got a bit older, sort of started hitting the drinking, the party scene, as you do when you're a young kid. But things escalated for me really quickly. I sort of got pinched for an assault. We went to a house and sort of fucked up this house pretty badly, and it wasn't good. It was a bit of a retaliation thing from my mates had been out at a party and they got bashed, and then so we fought these people at this house that we went to and bashed them. We thought that it was them people, but it turned out it wasn't. Anyway, I got put on bail. I was on a curfew, and I lasted like 3 or 4 days. The first Friday night I fucked up. I went and robbed somebody, and I woke up in the watch house, sort of thinking, what the fuck's going on here? I suppose that's what I sort of used to be like when I was younger, to now. I suppose after the jail and going through what I went through in the prison systems, just out here trying to help people that have been through similar things to what I had been through.
Yeah. Okay. So when you were younger, was it like when you say you were going out around bashing people and just getting into that stuff, was this just your standard run-of-the-mill kind of teenage kind of hanging out with people doing that stuff, or was this more involved in kind of things that are not above petty crime, but like people that were kind of doing things that were a little bit more than just random acts of violence?
I think that's where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
With my dad, he served a 16.5-year prison sentence in the New South Wales prison system. So from the ages of 10 years old, I was, having prison visits. I was, having jail phone calls. My mates were in jail. I grew up in housing commission, so like a lot of the fellas that I hung around with, like dads or older brothers, were in jail, going to jail.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I just sort of grew up with that environment around me, so I thought it was normal, and that's the sort of way I was heading. But, it was pretty sort of petty. Wasn't really anything serious. It was more just getting in fights or getting on the piss, trying to root chicks, just, I don't know, what young kids do when they're young.
Yeah.
But so I went to jail that first time, and then when I got out, that's when it escalated. That's when it sort of started getting a bit more serious. Got really heavily involved with a street gang, and then I went into a outlaw motorcycle club.
Yep.
So my dad served a 16.5-year prison sentence, and he was in the club, and I joined that same club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And what does About Time for Justice mean to you and Dad, which is the business that you now both have in relation to helping people that have suffered with institutional abuse? What does it mean? What does it mean to you both?
It means a lot to me. On my second prison sentence, I was sitting in jail. I was looking at 20 plus years for these charges that I was charged under. They're called the Vlad laws in Queensland. So I got put into segregation. I was made to wear pink, no TV in the cell. It was 22.5-hour day lockdowns. So I was staring down the barrel of 20 plus years. And my dad was about 10 years into his sentence. And he was writing to me, and I was like, fuck, is this what the rest of my life's going to be? And I was lucky I had a bit of support there. My mum was very supportive. I got out of that sort of segregation and finished my sentence in just mainstream prison. But yeah, when you're in the mainstream prison, you see a lot of guys with no support.
Yeah.
I was lucky because I had friends, and I had the sort of gang members that were still there, sort of helping me with money, helping me with Bugs Bunny, and I was lucky. I had chicks come up and see me. I had mates coming up and see me. I was lucky, but I seen a lot of guys in the jail yard just walking around, fucking staring at the ground.
Yeah.
Depressed, lonely, coming off the street. The jail's just feeding them drugs, so they're just doped up, walking around the yard like zombies, hating their life, fighting with their chick, going through domestic violence, going through court, burn all their bridges on the outside. They're down in the dumps. So for me, About Time for Justice, like we're that person on the other side of the phone now. We're the ones who will like be there for the boys in jail and be there for people who don't have much, if nothing at all.
Those kind of people that you're talking about that you see out in the yard with their head down, bowed, probably, doped up, in a lot of pain, they're really not serious. Like, they're really not high level offenders either, are they? They're a lot of them, would you agree, are just kind of really mediocre kind of offenders, like as in they're not exactly a threat to the society compared to what some people are framed as.
Yeah, that's why parole and the prison system is such a big business that they want to keep people in jail.
It's private, right? Yeah. A lot of it's private, right?
Yeah, they want to keep them trapped in the system.
Yeah, of course. They just replaced the slave trade with this. That's all they did. I've seen it in the Northern Territory. Look at the figures around this country for Aboriginal incarceration. And then look at it in America. It's the same, bro. Yeah. They just changed the slave trade to a prison trade. It's private enterprise. Money talks and bullshit walks.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
This is why I don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people, I'm sure, within the criminal justice system that are there to make positive change and protect the community and all the things. I get that. But, I think it's important also to have the likes of yourself and your dad doing what you do, and a lot of other people that have a platform or business or influence to also speak about the side of the criminal justice system that is fucked. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen a lot of things in the time I was in the territory. A lot of things. I'm sure. I mean, you go up there, you and Dado.
Yeah, I've
for
done
the business.
I've done visits up there, been to remote communities.
There's a lot of people falling through the cracks up there, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I would say, a lot of institutional abuse. I mean, it was a national thing anyway after the whole Dondale thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a lot. I worked with four lads that were in that whole thing. Good lads, damaged.
Yeah.
Like very damaged from that time in youth detention. Very damaged.
Yeah.
Very confused. Sexually confused sometimes even. Just because of what happened to them.
Yeah.
And I just think it's fucking unacceptable. They have been... Okay, so they've done what they've done. Fair enough. They are in a place that's meant to rehabilitate them. Not debilitate them.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you just watched recently the doco I just watched the other night of that hip hop group 1-4.
Yeah, it's fucking mad.
Fuck, I did not know that was what they were putting up with. I knew what they were putting up with, but then I watched that the other night. I was shocked. I actually got quite upset at some points because it was heartbreaking. They had a way out, bruh.
Yeah.
And then to hear the level of bullshit coming out of that Karen, the Karen woman that's in charge of Raptor and the rest of it, and I'm like, you wonder why people struggle with you, mob.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
Even politicians tell more truth than you. Fuck me. I don't know. Anyway, injustice triggers me, bro.
Yeah.
I get justice needs to be in place to keep community safe, and a lot of us made mistakes when we were younger, and you got to pay the piper, right?
Yeah.
And if you hadn't have gone through the process and decided you were not going to let it make you a victim, you wouldn't have become a success and invented About Time for Justice.
Yeah,
so,
right.
you know, it has its... The system is there, it just doesn't work. But I've met some real heroes in it too.
Yeah.
I've met some real good people in the Northern Territory system anyway,
Yeah.
that really are there for good things.
Yeah.
You know? Unfortunately, a lot of them, even the good ones, they decide to make the career out of it.
Yeah.
15 years in, bro, they're burnt.
Yeah.
They're burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
They're sick and tired of pissing against the wind with all these other motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they kind of fold. They lose their values a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why I think social enterprises like yourselves and like ours and many others, disruptors, I think they're good because they actually remind the good ones in the system why they got in it. And they go, fuck, these motherfuckers, they're shining a bit of a light again. I feel like I could do this again. I could push against the other people I'm working with that are arseholes.
Yeah.
I just found a lot of times, and I'm sure you probably did, the screws, a lot of them, to me, they just got bullied at school. And now they've got a way of bullying people, you know, and I don't know if it's very great. I met some good screws too.
Yeah.
Problem is they get pushed out of the job or get indoctrinated into being a bad screw. Otherwise, they're against the mass.
Yeah, they get bullied, eh?
Yeah, and it's kind of sad, really.
Yeah.
All right. So Inside Out's podcast is for people to tune in, to listen to stories of tragedy that people have been through and how they've turned that into triumph and success. That's the whole point of it. So we've got a vast array of people that listen. A lot of it's based around addiction and mental health, like what we talk about. But we've got quite a lot of people in the industry professionally. Yeah. But then we've got just people that are from all walks of life, personally just listening. Yeah. So for me, I just wanted to ask this question because not everybody will know what this is. Why does institutional abuse exist? And what exactly does it mean, or how would you define it to someone listening who may not understand it? So let's define it first. Like if someone's listening and they don't know what that is, they haven't been in prison, they're not really au fait with the system or anything. Yeah. Like what is institutional abuse categorized as?
Yeah. So there was a Royal Commission into institutional responses, child abuse. I think it's about 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
And so many Australians who had been through Australian institutions come forward and started to tell their stories of not only physical abuse, but there was sexual abuse, mental abuse.
Yeah.
And what come from that was a lot of people who had suffered the abuse were able to claim for compensation to help them to start healing through counselling or other supports.
Yeah.
So an Australian institution could be a boys' home, girls' home, foster cares, DOCs, any youth detention centres, any churches or church-run institutions, any missions, reserves, community-based groups, sporting teams, Girls Guides, Scouts, any after-school cares, even any school, so private, public, boarding, any after-school cares. So my dad suffered abuse at his local public school when he was a kid, and myself, I went through youth detention centre. That's where I suffered my abuse. But yeah, when I say the churches too, that could be like church-run programs or like Sunday school, church itself. We've also seen in a lot of remote communities that we go to and other places in Australia that pastors or priests will take kids out on programs that give them drugs and alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sick stuff. Also.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Actually, it reminds me of something. Before we carry on, and I'll hit you up about it afterwards in case you've never watched it. It's very inspiring. There's a film about institutional abuse, but it was much more in the missions and all that stuff. It's called Oranges and Sunshine.
Okay.
And it's about a British social worker who exposes basically the British, the Irish, and I think it was the Americans to try and populate Australia. They would pretend that these children were unsafe in their care of their parents back in the UK, and they would steal them and put them into, like boys' homes and that in Australia in like the 1930s or 40s to help populate the country. And they just got fiddled with and absolute horrificness. And then this social worker woman is trying to track them down. Now they're in their 50s and 60s, and they're gone, bro. The heads are gone. They're drug addicts, they're alcoholics, they're violent offenders. Oranges and Sunshine. Afterwards I'll tell you about it. That's what I've understood it to be outside of what I've heard in prisons. But that there, what you just said with the monastery, like the whole thing, that's messed up. Yeah,
it's pretty fucked up, bro. Some of the stories that you hear. And in particular, in the Northern Territory when I was there, and in New South Wales there, these large institutions will go out there and they've also displaced families. So Aboriginal First Nations communities they create a stolen generation, putting them into institutions where they're physically, sexually abused.
Wow.
So we've done a lot of work up there with stolen generation down New South Wales. But yeah, also the sort of foster care systems could be known as other things. In the Northern Territory, it's called Territory Families. DCS or DCP. It could be like group homes, or you get fostered out to a family, or youth hostels. Yeah, so really any Australian institution that's failed to protect a child's innocence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what an institution would be.
Why does institutional abuse exist?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I know it's probably a bit expansive and a bit fucking hectic, big question, but why do you think it exists? I mean, I know humans are just fucked up people sometimes, but these are massive organizations. Like, let's take child protection, for instance, whether it be DCF up in Territory or Territory Families and DCF, DCP down here across the country. This is like a multi-billion-dollar funded industry. How are they not got the ducks in a row to have the right people that are housed, that are in charge of these children? What? I don't understand.
Well, I suppose for somebody like myself who didn't really know much about this, and then if you heard about institutional abuse, you'd probably nearly even think it's a lie or people are making it up or it's conspiracies, but it's generally not. The cases that I see, of these pedophile rings that are working and operating, not only, in church groups, boys' homes, girls' homes. We've had cases where kids are in boys' homes and they're getting smuggled out during the night and taken to different pedophile rings and things like that. It's known, that the churches cover up these instances and move the pedophile priests around. There's a movie called Spotlight, which is on Netflix.
Yep.
And it really highlights how badly, how many cover-ups and instances of abuse have happened. But yeah, I mean, where did Australia come from? Come from an overseas country.
Yes.
That was, very big on the church groups. And some of them church groups, their men weren't allowed to be with females. So I mean, the abuse didn't come from Australia. It come from overseas, and it was brought into Australia culture.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of First Nations copped it.
Oh my God,
And,
the shit that happened to them is horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 years in the territory, and I got to sit down around the fires and hear the real stories. I can't watch Rabbit Proof Fence without crying. That breaks me every time.
Yeah, it's a sad movie.
Yeah. So it's just another overseas export.
Yeah.
Just like the poison in the bottle that messed up the whole of the culture of indigenous ways that I've seen anyway in the time. Yeah, okay. All right, well, that's probably gives people an understanding if they didn't understand what institutional abuse is. What was your lowest point in your life up to this point, and how did you get out of it?
I think the lowest point in my life, I think it was when I first went to the watch house.
Yep.
So earlier I said, I had that fight, and then I robbed somebody. I remember waking up in the watch house, and I didn't really remember what had happened, but I sort of put bits and pieces together. So because I was only 17 at the time, I think they had me in an isolated cell, and I sort of was putting bits and pieces together. And I remember that I robbed somebody. I went back to my room. I robbed somebody across the road from my house. I was like, service road, a highway, service road. So I was so drunk and fucking off my head that I didn't realise that people would just see me walk back to my house. And the cops come over, walked straight into my room and said, "Hey, was this you?" I said, "No." They checked my back pocket. I had the bloke's wallet in. I got $10. That $10 note put me in the watch house, and that watch house. The worst part about going to jail is definitely the watch house. So that was one of the first times that I had been to the watch house. It was the longest period that I spent in the watch house anyway. And then, waking up from a real bad hangover, thinking, what the fuck's going on here? The screws are sort of telling me I'm putting pieces together, and I'm just a bit foggy. The watch house cells is putrid. There's fucking pubes and blood all over the cells. That was pretty bad. But I suppose spending 7 days in there, same undies.
Yeah, well, that's never good. I did that on the streets recently. I spent 7 nights homeless and I had the same undies. It's not pleasant.
Yeah, right.
It's not pleasant.
Nah, not at all. No matter how many times you fold them inside out.
Nah, bruh. How many bird baths you have, it ain't working.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So in the watch house. So for anyone that may not be literate with criminal discussions, the watch house is a place where you're put while you wait to go to court.
Yeah, it could be when you wait to go to court, or when you got locked up off the street.
Yep.
And they're just holding you, sort of waiting for you to go to court, or you might get sentenced and then
or bailed
to jail, or you could get bailed. But I suppose for me that wasn't the lowest point. I mean, the whole experience of me, going to jail. When I got to the Brisbane Boys Yard, it was a shit experience. When I was there, I was sexually abused by a prison officer more than once. So he come into my cell and sort of roughed me up. And I was pretty young. He was a bigger person than me, so that there wasn't much I could do. Sort of, made me do bad things. Yep. And
how old were you?
I was 17 at the time.
Yep.
So I was pretty lost and confused, and didn't really know what was going on.
And vulnerable.
Yeah.
Even though I'm, obviously also on the streets you could fucking bang.
Yeah.
but still vulnerable, bruh.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? We're all vulnerable men, like, especially in the care, apparently, in the care of these people that are, you know, meant to be here to rehabilitate us.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, that's a complete mind fuck.
Yeah.
That just starts happening because it's like, well, is this what's meant to happen here? What the fuck's happening with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I suppose, from there, that was pretty low. But I mean, when I turned 18, I was in Brisbane Correctional Centre. Inside of that centre was the boys' yard where I was housed. And you know, before I got shipped out, they segregated me. I got caught up in some things in the unit, and so that was my first sort of segregations. So I was put into the OBS unit. So it was just next door to us, but it was separated from the younger fellas, so that I couldn't be around them. Me and one of the other boys got separated from them. So the OBS unit, it means observation. So all these guys they slice up, like, because they're fucking mentally unwell or they're going through things.
Yeah.
And what a place to put somebody who's mentally unwell in a fucking padded cell with no TV and put in a straitjacket.
Yeah, it's more mental torture.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
You're already stuck in this cycle of mental torture, and then let's just put you in something that basically reminds you you're fucked mentally. It makes loads of sense.
Yeah, so over there, you know, guys are fucking yelling out crazy shit. They're hearing voices, and I was sort of just over there, just doing my own thing, fucking pretty lonely. But yeah, I turned 18 from there, and on my 18th birthday, I got transferred to Arthur Gorrie Correctional Centre. And on my 18th birthday, I got a packet of White Ox. I got some thongs. In the prison system in Queensland, they're called G'day Mates. They got this G'day Mate on the bottom of your pluggers. So yeah, you sort of get assessed. They give you all your bedding, all your stuff that you sort of need to go to your unit. And when I was walking down there, I was fucking shitting myself. I was like, is the same thing going to happen again?
Yeah.
But I was pretty lucky because my dad put the word up from the New South Wales prison system to Queensland, and the boys come up to me. They're like, "Oh, we know your dad. You'll be all right. Come to our unit."
Yeah.
And but when I walked into that unit, I remember it wasn't the first unit I went to in the prison system, but it was the first unit when I seen. Probably, I think this would be the lowest point of, you know, all the things I went through and seen and witnessed. Yeah, so I walked into this unit, so I'll just paint a sort of picture for any who's listening. So in the units, which were a lot more comfy than the fucking units over in South Australia, mate. The jail wings over that I've been seeing the last couple of days are fucking ugly. But anyway, so you walk into the yard, and so if I am looking sort of to the yard, to the right-hand side is the yard. So out in the yard you have your chin-up bar, dip bar. There might be boys playing cards, but you can cut laps there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent-sized yard. You've got a couple of phones. And if you're looking in front of you, there's like 3 tiers. So I'm on the middle tier, and there's top tier is 25 cells, bottom tier 25 cells, and the middle tier, which is the same tier where the yard is on the right-hand side. Left-hand side is kitchen, toilet, laundry. And and behind you is what they call the fishbowl. So the fishbowl is where the screws sit, the correctional officers. So it's like perspex glass, so they can see outside and you can see inside, but they can't do anything. Like they can't touch you. They're sort of behind the glass, and they can't be attacked.
Yeah.
So they can run in that room and fucking close it if anything pops off. So yeah, I remember just sort of walking down that middle landing and then going to walk down the bottom landing, and I was seeing these guys. I didn't know what they were doing. I was pretty young at the time. I hadn't seen it before. They were mixing up and having a shot, and I was sort of like, fuck, what the fuck's going on here? I just sort of come off the street. These guys are fucking mixing up, having a shot, and that was the first time I seen it. Yeah. And I was a bit horrified. And when you're in prison, you can't just like run up to the fishbowl and be like, hey, chief, these guys are shooting up. What would happen is you'll get your head kicked in.
Yeah, of course.
And you'll probably go to boneyard, which is protection where like snitches or pedophiles or rapists or kid fuckers go. Yeah. So I just sort of took a look at myself and I was like, where the fuck am I? What the fuck have I got myself into? And then that night, these guys, they come up and the spoon that they were using, I noticed, so the trolleys come down for food and they have Big Bay Marie. So that same spoon they were shooting up off, they were serving our food off. And I was like, fuck, I've hit a fucking low point in my life.
That's definitely one of those check-in points where you go, okay, well, this is it. Yeah. Fucking hell. All right. And so how did you recover from that? Like, what did you do from that point? Like, was it almost immediate where after that night you full checked in and went, fuck, I don't want this as a life? Or was it just like, fuck, I just got to survive for my period here and I'll figure it out when I get out? What happened after that night?
Mate, after that night, I didn't come to a sort of reality check until my dad was coming up for parole. That's what made me pull my head in. But after that incident, I was definitely asking questions. I was like, fucking hell, like, what have I got myself in for here?
Yeah.
I'm rocking up to the yard each day, and I got these older guys sort of training me up. I was loving it because that's sort of what I was looking up to. I looked up to my dad my whole life, and I wanted to be like Grim. I wanted to be like a bikie. I wanted to be like that, and I had the boys training me up, showing me how to do pads, doing push-ups, dips. I was looking for that family, that family you were talking about earlier, or that brotherhood. Because I grew up in housing commission. I grew up, with not many good people in my corner. I didn't have people saying, hey son, or hey mate, why don't you go and try and be a lawyer, or why don't you go and try and be a tradie?
Yeah.
I did have a few people in my corner saying go and do good things, but mostly I was hanging around crims, I was hanging around drug dealers, I was hanging around bikies. So there was no one there I was looking up to. I had no idea how to get to another level, how to step up to another level, how to level up.
Yeah.
I got out of prison from there, and I was on a downward spiral. I was angry, I was taking drugs, I was back into the gangs. Yeah. And it escalated for me real quick. I was back on bail, back on probation, back on parole, back on a suspended sentence. Yeah. And that's when I got locked up under them Vlad laws. And from the point when I got locked up off the street, I got taken from Gold Coast, Varsity Lakes, I think it was. I barely had. So me and my mate were training at the gym. We seen another club member, and he was talking shit to me previously. Anyway, I fronted him, and we had a little crack in the gym, and we ended up shaking hands. It was all good. But then the cops come down. There was helicopters.
Oh, Jesus.
There was all this task force. I think we're under investigation because they got there fucking real quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went to Watch House. So I spent my first 7 days at Southport Watch House. That was like my local watch house if I went to jail. Yeah. So I went from there to BCC and Brisbane Correctional Centre. So that's where I was originally housed when I was abused as a kid. Yeah. But I was in the men's part this time. And it was really funny when I got to the Brisbane Correctional Centre. They put me straight into the detention units, and there's say 20 units. Each person has a single cell. And then so it's probably like maybe 50 metres long, but there's all boys in every single cell. So every single person who was in a cell was in a club, different gang.
Oh, wow.
And
that's hectic. Yeah. That's just a fucking recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
About a week before that, my mate who was in the club with me at the time, he was getting sentenced. I think he got like a 4 year on the bottom, 8 on the top. Yeah. So he had to serve 4 years, and I was like, see you, brother, fucking I'll see you on the other side. And literally a week later, I'm at fucking Brisbane Correctional Centre. He's at Brisbane Correctional Centre. We're both in the detention unit. Wow. I was like, hey bro, how you going? He couldn't really hear me. Anyway, so I was sort of about 14 days into the watch house, hadn't had much good food, and he sent me down like a block of chocolate, brother. And that block of chocolate, I'm telling you,
the best thing ever, eh?
It was a grouse.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, fuck yeah, bro, thank you, I needed it.
Yeah.
And on the street at that time, we had sort of a beef with a different club, and the cops knew about it. Like they 100% knew about it. Like we just got charged for having this like pretty much fight in the middle of the street. And so we got put from Brisbane Correctional Centre, we got taken up to Woodford Correctional Centre, and the other guy that I was in the club with at the time, like there was about 8 of the other crew in that went out in the yard, and there was 2 of us, and they weirdly segregated everyone into different groups. So like one club might have went with another club might have went with another club, but they put all the guys together that weren't fighting with each other, but they knew that we were. So I think they wanted to just see us get bashed, and we definitely would have. Like there was 8 of them. But we weren't going to go out without having a crack, because we knew that like if you didn't go out and our sort of crew found out about it, it would bring like shame to the club, and we'd probably get kicked out ourselves. So we just said, you know what, we'll just go out back to back. Yeah. Whatever happens, happens. And luckily we put together that the screws were trying to set us up, because we were right on camera. Like we would have got charged again under them blood laws. Wow. And so that's when I was sort of sitting there asking myself, is this where I see the rest of my life? I suppose just in jail, Dad's writing me these letters. I remember my entertainment for the day would be, so you have these chairs in your cell and you could like slide them across. So one side you could see the mountain, so pretty lucky that you had a nice view. But the other side is you could see inside the unit, you had these pigeonholes. So you slide your chair around and stand on top of your chair so you can look outside the pigeon unit, like pigeonhole.
Yeah.
Like there was only one person out in there. It was a sweeper of the yard, and then there was just like a screw walking around. That was the entertainment. No TV, no nothing, bro. That was fucking boring. We'd just sit in there, put everything that you could, wrap it up in your sheet, and just try and do weights with it. It was just fucking
Push up king, eh?
Yeah.
Dips and push ups.
Yeah. It was fucking a shit time in my life, mate.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But you obviously found a way out of that over the time period, because otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here now with what you do. So you said when you were younger, as a lot of us did, you were, drinking and taking drugs, whatever it was. Now this podcast originally was formed because me and the Lock Dog, we're very passionate around addiction and helping people recover. What does the word addiction mean to you?
I've got a really addictive personality.
Yeah.
So the word addiction to me, it can be good, bro, but it can be bad too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I just get fixated on things. I can't just sort of have just one beer. I need to have like 10.
Yeah.
Or I can't just... Sometimes it just escalates real quick. And
Yeah.
when I left that gang life behind, I left so many of my friends. So I was lonely. And then I was taking a lot of drugs too. I was on the coke real hard.
Yeah.
Partying all the time. I was wigging out. Because just because I changed my lifestyle didn't mean that the same guys that I fucking done bad things to had forgotten about what I had done. So, and I was still worried about the cops. It wasn't like I just clicked my fingers and that lifestyle
it doesn't just stop.
for me.
No.
It took time. It took years. So addiction for me, bro, I felt that's probably one of the lowest points in my life too. Just how much I was partying and just the depression that I was feeling.
Yeah.
Coming down and just wigging out.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's a shit feeling, bro. Fucking checking out the fucking under the door or checking.
Shadow people, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking hate the shadow people, man. When I was on the gear, fuck me, 4 days deep, and that would be like, what was that? Nothing, bro.
Yeah.
Shadow people every time. It's fucking horrible. Because, see, with addiction, addiction isn't a choice. It's a pain response. A lot of us get addicted to bad routines. That's all it is. It's a routine of constantly doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Expecting a different result. All you do is get high, and you get less high every time you do it more. But it's a pain response. So when you consider, I guess, the stuff that you went through growing up, of course you were going to end up using something to relieve the pain because you weren't getting whatever professional help looks like that you would see. I mean, everyone's different. People like to get coaches. Some go to counselors. Some go to psychologists. Some go to fucking meditation retreats. Who knows? But we all need something to take ourselves on and go, okay, well, I know I'm struggling. So what am I going to do to turn that around? And, addiction is, I'm the same. I've always felt I have a very addictive personality. I would suggest a lot more of the time what I've learnt now is I just have more of an attention problem. And with ADHD, ADD type behavior, you become hyper fixated on things, right? It can be drugs, alcohol. It can be good things, right? Like now you have a business. I noticed you were reading a very good book yesterday, Stephen Covey's.
Yeah, you like that one?
Oh, bro, I'm all about all those books. I love them, man. I don't read too good, so I listen. So I try and read, but my attention's fucked, bro. I can't. I'll read a page, and by the end of the page, I can't remember it. But if I listen, so like I constantly listen to books. But yeah, that book, when you learn what you have in relation to the way your brain works, which you're clearly doing the same as I am now, and you have a business and a purpose and a reason, like you did when you were fucking around and I was fucking around. Now we're just fucking around in a different way, where it was going to create more positive waves. The hyperfixation that used to fuck us up will now be the very thing that makes us succeed.
Yeah.
Because we've got something to hyperfixate on that's positive, which then brings all these other addictions now of learning, growth, personal development, all the things. And now it gets switched into a positive mind frame.
Yeah.
You still got to guide yourself from the bullshit. We're all one step from a shit show.
Yeah.
I'm the same, man. I don't drink much anymore because I know when the tiger's out of the cage, all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah.
You know, like I just know my limits now. At 40 years old, I've been around the block. I've too many fucking mistakes.
Yeah.
So I still have a drink, but I know.
Yeah.
I know when the shit show's coming. So I'm like, no, I'm going to go, lads. I'm out of here. You don't want to know where this is going. It's fucking Thursday. Next thing will be Tuesday. I know where it's going. All right. So leading on to the fact that I've noticed that you're doing 75 hard challenge at the moment, which is a hectic challenge if anyone's never heard of it. Like it's a lot, you know, it's working out twice a day. There's a lot of things behind it.
Yeah.
But I've done it once before. It's good.
Did you finish it?
I did, but
boy.
I fucking hated life. By the end of it, I was like, by the end of it, I was loving it, but fuck, by about 28, 29, I'm like, this is hectic. This is a lot. No, but it's good. But these kind of personal development things, these things to push you like into different realms of your being.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that we just talked about the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book you're reading.
Yeah.
Because what I want to ask you is, what is one thing your business did that you didn't expect when you both started it in 2020, you and Dad?
I think it gave me and Dad a real mission and direction to be able to help fellas out like us that we didn't sort of realise it would from starting it. You know, there was just so much more that we could give and help with that we realised once we started doing the work, you know, from going out and speaking to people, helping them to sort of take them first steps. You know, About Time for Justice is a safe place and we always believe people. So yeah, I suppose just me and Dad leveling up in our personal development, in our own growth. I didn't think I'd come this far. There's always tough times, very tough times, but you know, it's all worth it in the end when you're getting them W's, getting the wins. Yeah, bro, I love winning.
Talking about wins, tell us about one of your proudest kind of moments or bookmark moments so far in About Time for Justice, like, you know, whether it's a client win, whatever it is, and obviously you've got to keep privacy and that, but like just give me one of your standout moments in the last 3 years or 3 and a bit years.
One of these guys I work with, we helped him to tell his story, and he's just recently started a business and it's going very successfully. He's kicking goals. He wants to study, so he started doing a tertiary preparation. But his business just sort of got a bit much for him, so he decided to take the business, which I get. That's cool. He's got a missus now. He's settled down. He's proposed to his missus. You don't see many guys sort of make it out the other side, so it's very, very proud of him and what he's achieved. So that's a pretty big win. I love saying that. Yeah.
It feels good, eh? Must be cool working with your dad.
Yeah.
After looking up to him your whole life, and now both of you being able to get up most days without having to look over your shoulder and live in this legal world. You know, I seen the other day, I don't know what you make of the lad. I can't help but like him no matter how controversial he is. But he did a really good thing the other day, Spanian, right? He was in, I don't know, he's been overseas doing all this new show he does.
Oh, has he?
But he's got this new show where he goes into all the like ghettos around the world.
Oh, does he?
Anyway, he's walking down the street and he sees, I can't remember what brand it is, but like a real expensive brand of watch. It wasn't Rolex, but it was like fucking Montclair or whatever the fuck it is. So he's like, I'm going to go and have a look at that. And he sees this watch and he's like, this is the watch. I remember having this watch when I was back in the other side of life.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this fucking watch.
Yeah.
And he bought the watch. He's walking down the street and he's like, do you know, it feels so much better to have bought this watch legally and be walking down the street without knowing I ain't got to look over my shoulder. Yeah. That's the real hustle.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, that's coming from a fucking loose unit like that. Yeah. Like even now when he shows up, like the looseness.
Yeah.
But that was real talk. So it must feel so cool to the man you looked up to as your hero to now be playing out your own hero story together in a space where you're safe. That must be cool.
Yeah, I love it, bro.
Yeah,
Mad.
I'm gutted. I was kind of hoping Dad was with you. I was looking forward to meeting Todd.
Yeah.
But obviously he's got to take care of business.
Yeah.
And also I've seen your mum looks lovely too. Tell us about your mum.
Yeah, my mum, she's always been rock solid for me.
Yeah.
She's been, I swear, my number one supporter.
Yeah.
Don't like to admit it, but I'm a bit of a mummy's boy.
Yeah, I think we all are, really. Let's be honest. I think we all are.
Yeah, no, I just put her through so much shit when I was younger, like, obviously the jail, the drugs, the alcohol. She's putting up with me, always been like on bail, the cops rocking up. The cops used to rock up to my mum's place when I wasn't even out in the community. They used to rock up when they knew I was in jail just to terrorise her. And just when I was in jail too, when I got charged under the lad laws, she went down to this march and just sort of spoke about my incarceration and all the other guys' incarceration around the lad laws. She made up all these pink T-shirts with my head on it.
Yeah.
Ugly looking head. No, my mum, she's always just been rock solid for me, brother. No matter what I've done, like even if I was wrong, even if she knows I'm wrong, she'll be like, nah, he's not wrong, he didn't do it. Or she knows I done it, but she'll just always back me up.
Yeah.
I really love her. I could draw so much strength from her positivity.
Yeah.
She's always got a smile on her dog. She's a very happy person.
Yeah, she looks awesome, man. I seen you when you got home for a couple of days there, just on a thingy, and I was like, yeah, that's all I've got is my mum. I didn't have a dad, so yeah, shout out to the mothers of the world, because we put them through a living fucking hell. But you know what? They're actually always proud of us. They actually mean it. I used to think I'm the same. I've done a lot and put my mum through a lot, and that's why I work so hard now to do the righty and make her proud. Because she didn't really deserve that. Like can you imagine what, like, I don't know about your mum, but my mum, bless her, probably inside her mind must think that everyone must think she's a shit mum because of what I did. It's like, no. Like, I've said this to journalists before. The reason I got out of addiction and the shit I lived in was because of the way I was raised. Yeah. And they mishear what I said. I said, no, you've got it twisted. See, you're already trying to work the parent angle. You didn't hear what I just said. Yeah. The reason I got out of everything I was in was because of my mum. The reason I got in it was because I didn't have a dad. In fact, it wasn't. It's just my fault. I'm going to just own that. Yeah. But my mum taught me things that then became talents that got me out of the shit. Yeah, and now I've turned my life around because of it. Yeah. So shout outs to all the mums. Shout out to your mum. What's your mum's name?
Caroline.
Oh, the camera's over there. Caroline, we love you. Well done for raising a good man. He's about to change the world. All right. So we're getting to the pointy end of things. So I want you to tell me about the 3 most influential people in your life and how they impacted you. I think we've already spoken of 2 probably, but yeah. Who's the 3 most impactful, influential people you've had in your life?
Just like personally, or people I look up to, like
it can be either, like a bit of a mix. Like, give us a couple of personal and one kind of that you look up to that's an influencer or a person in the spotlight. Yeah, I really like boxing. I love Tyson Fury. That's my idol, bro.
Yeah,
Tyson Fury's my man. Man, we should do a whole different episode just on boxing. I'm a boxing man, bro.
Oh,
yeah, I love it. Yeah, cool. All right, Tyson Fury. Yeah, he's solid, bro.
Yeah, just for what he's been through and like just getting on the bag and partying and I don't know. He was telling some story about how he was driving his car real fast and was thinking about killing himself. Yeah, he just had everything, and then just sort of come back and from. The fights that he's had some really solid fights and probably fights that he shouldn't have got up from some of the big punches that he took.
Yeah, Wilder, that first one. Yeah. Fuck me. I don't know how. You've seen everyone else he sparked out before Wilder. They twitched. Yeah. They're gone. Yeah, they ain't getting up. Yeah. I don't know how the fuck he did that. Yeah, yeah. And he only just got back in to the boxing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He's definitely a very unique character. I'm the same, bro. I model myself on a lot of him. Yeah. Like a lot of my mates, for that Aussie mates I've got, they always say to me, "Fuck, you remind me of that lad so much with the way your mannerisms and your little English things and the way you carry on." I just love the way he speaks so openly. Yeah. About his mental health and everything. Yeah.
It's fucking great.
That's a tough man. Yeah. But he's happy to show what real hardness is, which is fucking. This is what I'm going through. Yeah. We need that.
Yeah, for sure, man. To get vulnerable.
That's where I kind of try and model myself when I do the social media stuff. I try and show up as my worst self and say, this is how you get better. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? All right, who else? Obviously, we got mum and dad. That's a guarantee, right?
Yeah, probably them two.
Anyone else that stand out to you in your personal circle, growing up or grown up now, that really stands out to you?
I really love. I know there's probably a few people. I really like people who work hard for what they have.
Yeah.
And they're just constantly turning up, doing the things outside of work hours, doing them little extras that give you that little winning edge.
Yep.
I really love people that work hard and have a good drive to get to where they want to be. I love the hustle, but I love getting up. I love getting up at 4 a.m. when no one's fucking getting up and doing that shit, bro.
Yeah.
No one else is doing it.
Yeah, because that's when you're up at that time, you've beaten the 99%.
Yeah.
In fact, you're barely a 1%.
Yeah,
Well, I probably shouldn't say that because you used to do what you used to do, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, and anyone else in the kind of like influence spotlight? Anyone else that stands out to you?
Yeah.
Or that you model yourself on?
Yeah, I really love. I ran a marathon this year, and a big part of how I got through that marathon was through David Goggins.
Yep.
I really love. I reckon David Goggins is a fucking beast.
He's a different character altogether, right?
He's not normal, that bloke.
He's not. I don't know if he's human, to be honest.
He might not be.
But he is definitely a very unique individual.
Yeah.
I've seen he's been training Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, bless Tony. I kind of feel like he should have retired, but if he wants to keep going, it's probably the best man to go with.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay. He's I can see he's a very influential character, David Goggins.
Yeah.
Did you see him when he came to Australia last time?
I did.
Yeah, he did?
Yeah, in Brisbane.
Was he good?
Yeah, it was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I loved every second of it. Brother, when I seen that, because I was sitting on the fence, I was sitting in the crowd, and I was like, I think I'm going to jump into a marathon this year. I was like, I'll probably just do like a 10K or a half marathon. And someone got up in the crowd, and they're like, oh, I've been training to do a half marathon. He's like, what? Like, not in so many words, but he basically called him out for being a little bitch. And he's like, why are you thinking about doing a half marathon? You're already there. Just do the marathon. I was like, I knew straight away. I was like, nah, I got to do a marathon now. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
So that's an influential person.
Yeah.
Just changed your neurology like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. You got 5 minutes in the world's attention. What'd you say?
Yeah, I'll probably just sort of want to talk about my business and a bit more around how much it means to me and why I love to do it. I sort of touched on it a little bit earlier.
Yep.
About being that people or persons who are there for people who have nobody.
Yep.
About Time for Justice's mission is to help as many survivors of institutional abuse to seek justice and start healing, to give the voiceless their voice back. From that, it sort of inspired me to start studying, to sort of get into further education. Because when I finished high school, I fucked up and I went straight into the gang lifestyle. I was just going in and out of the system. I was a product of the system because of growing up around it. And so I've got into like a tertiary preparation. Got into a Bachelor of Arts, major in legal studies. I just got into a Bachelor of Legal Studies. Looking to get into a Bachelor of Laws. I've got 2 more units of education to go. So 2 more, trimesters of the Bachelor of Legal Studies. So, I grew up in Housing Commission. I come from not much. I grew up visiting prison systems. And, every single day, every single time I look at that university book or lecture or reading or case, and I'm like, fuck, this is too hard. I just think to myself, it doesn't really matter where you come from. If you keep turning up every day and having a crack, even if it's just a little bit, you can get to where you want to go. So I always think about where I've been to use that strength to get me through them hard times. Like I've been through a lot of hard times, brother. But fucking reading these cases and shit, I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I can do this. I ask myself constantly every single day, how the fuck I'm going to get through studying and that. But yeah. I'd just say to people, just keep turning up and having a go. Yeah.
Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, it's just something I talk about all the time on my social media.
Yeah.
The guy that runs BHP, he hasn't got a fucking clue what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone thinks they do, they're cooked. Yeah. I'm telling you now, everyone's making it up. No one knows what the fuck they're doing, even if they have the qualities. They don't have the qualities. They got the money. They don't have the money. No one knows what they're doing. We're like fucking lemmings, just bouncing off each other, going, "Oh, we'll go that way. No, I'll go this way."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly that, man. Turn up and just have a fucking crack. What's the worst going to happen? You lose. Well, you lose and you try, which means you gain knowledge, right? So I heard something the other day. What was it? So, right. If what was it? Knowledge. Failure is right. So if this is all, just follow me. If failure is feedback, and feedback is knowledge, and knowledge is power, then power is failure.
Yeah, right.
Let's get this right again.
Yeah.
Fucking ADHD.
I need to write that down so I can map it out.
Yeah. So these are all like sayings, right?
Yeah.
So they say failure is feedback. Like failing is feedback to what to do right next time. Yeah. So if failure is feedback, and then feedback is like knowledge, right?
Yeah.
That's like learning, right?
Yeah,
feedback.
Failure
is feedback. Feedback's knowledge, and then the next one is, and they say knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Then that means that failure is power.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, that's fucking random. That's ADHD for you, bro. All right, cool. Before we round it out, where do people find you? How do they find you? Socials, plug it, bro. Plug it. Socials, website.
Yeah.
Maybe there's people listening now who are maybe out of the system, but this shit happened to them.
Yeah.
What do they do?
Yeah, so the first step would be to reach out to About Time for Justice. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. We got a podcast as well called Survivor Stories.
Yeah, it's
so
cool.
If you want,
I've sussed it. It's good.
Yeah. If anyone wants to jump on it, have a look.
Yeah.
Jump on there. Just got on our website, abouttimeforjustice.com. Google About Time for Justice. You can reach out to us via email, just admin@abouttimeforjustice, or we're on Signal, WhatsApp. If there's anyone out there that wants to keep it encrypted, we get it. We've been there. And yeah, we're in the prison systems too. Like most of the work that we do is in the prison system. So like if you're listening to this and be like, oh, so my loved one's in the prison system and they might not be able to help, that's probably the biggest place that we do our work. So we're all over the prison systems. We know how to access it. We're sending mail. We're having video conferences. We know how to get in there. Even any questions around jail, like if you're confused around how to access jails, what's a jail identification number, what's a doc number, what's a VIN number, what's a CRN number, what's a IOMS number, reach out to us because we're happy to help out. Any questions around jail, inbox us. I'm personally monitoring the Instagram for our business. So if there's anyone who wants to reach out to me personally on there, get on there, or just request to speak to Jacob. If you've got any issues, I'd love to speak to you. But mostly what you'll do is just reach out to us on the internet through any of them channels, and we'll hook up a yarn, see what happened to you, see if we can help. Yeah.
And just to clarify, at this point, the justice system prisons that you're working in, which states are you prevalent in at the moment?
Most of the work that we're doing is in New South Wales, where Dad was, and South Australia, where I currently am now. We're shooting this podcast in, what's this, Elizabeth, Elizabeth in where is this?
This is the Northern Sound System, which is a really cool youth centre for young people to come and express themselves through music, podcast, arts, creativity. And it's really cool because it aligns with our values at Inside Out as podcast, because it's in what's basically been decided as the most underprivileged part of Adelaide. And so we're recording our podcast in a hub of hope for the disenchanted youth. And that shit's what it's about, bro.
Love
that. This is a shelter and a safe haven for people to come and find their creativity. Kind of like what you seen with 1-4 when they went to that.
That's what I was thinking when I come here.
What's it called? God damn, it's a cool place. Anyway, the university. What was it? The Street University, I think it was called.
Street University.
That was it, yeah. That's kind of like this place. So there's some really cool artists like Klaz and a few others, the rappers and that have come from this place. They come off the street, found a place, they got taught recording. And now even in the new age stuff, in one of these rooms. They've got like a gaming room set up where like there's one guy who's got like 2.8 million subscribers. You know, people watch people game now.
Oh, Twitch or something?
No, but you just on YouTube, you watch people play games.
Yeah.
You watch them playing a game.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
So this guy's got like, he's a young kid, autistic kid, and he's got like he's like a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, right.
Like making bank off YouTube videos, and I don't know how it all works.
Yeah.
And he records in there, but yeah, it's a cool place for people to come and find some safety and shelter.
Yeah.
So anyway, Corey, we'll segue again. So you said SA, New South Wales, NT as well. You've been in?
Yeah. No, we work all over Australia. So most of the work we do is in the prison systems, but it's not limited to the prison system. So just so people know, because I constantly talk about jail, because it's just most of the work. It's where we do most of the work. It doesn't have to be. You can be in the community. You can just give us a call. Reach out. Let us know your loved one's details in jail. We can fucking hook up a call. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so any Australian institution that's failed to protect a child's innocence, we can help out to for you to tell your story inside the prison systems or outside. Yeah, cool.
All right. To wrap it up, is there a question you wish I'd asked you that I haven't asked?
Yeah. No, there's not.
Nah?
No, you asked some good ones.
Yeah? There's nothing else you want to touch on before we wrap it up? There's nothing I haven't asked that you wanted to share?
No.
Okay, cool. So as we always do to end this show, because we're called the Inside Outers podcast, and we briefly spoke about that earlier, the whole name of the business and the podcast, what does living from the inside out mean to you?
Well, what it means for me is like, coming from prison, although I've only done 1 year in prison, so I feel like, my dad and others have done a lot more time than me. Growing up around it, and then sort of always been on bail or probation or fucking some form of corrections when I was younger. Yeah. It feels good to come from that. I suppose you call that the inside for me, to the outside now of, where I am on my journey and where I want to go. I got big goals, and I want to start with the inside because that's where I come from. Yeah. And then work to the outside. My goal is to open up a law firm or partner into a law firm. That's why I'm studying law. I want to help people that have been fucked over by whoever it is. Shit lawyers, these large institutions, criminal justice system. My passion is to help people that have been fucked over by these large institutions. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, thanks for coming and jumping on. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I reckon everyone else learned a lot. Hopefully we've showcased not just your story, but most importantly what A Part-Time for Justice means and stands for. Good luck with everything. I feel like this isn't going to be the last time me and you catch up and hook up. I feel very passionate about what you do, and we've got our own business trying to do things of similar ilk, and so I feel like this isn't a goodbye. It's just a ta-ta for now. But thanks for coming on. Best of luck with everything, brother. Yeah. Thanks for everything you're doing for people that have no voice and giving them a voice. Can't wait to see that law firm. I have no fucking doubt that's going to happen. Yeah. Anybody that's listening and that's struggling with mental health, addiction, or you're not sure how to get out of what you're in, just understand that everyone wants happiness and no one wants pain. But you can't have a rainbow without a little rain. So just hold on in, because no storm lasts forever. It will pass. Your sun will come again. And you'll be able to sit in a day that you deserve to be inside of. And in the meantime, reach out. There's plenty of people out there in this world, such as Jacob and Todd, myself and the Lock Dog, and many other organizations, social enterprises, and business that give a shit about you and want to see the best for you. So don't be afraid. It ain't weak to speak. All right, that's it for me on the Inside Outers podcast. You take care and be shiny, motherfuckers.
But it ain't about how hard
okay, bro, that was mad.
It's about how hard you can get it and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how
next time for the Inside Outers podcast.